It's actually very interesting because I did think Israel took the biggest L on October 7th. And since then, I think they've been taking very big W's. Israel even got the United States to join their attack on Iran, which, again, I think would be a huge W.
The reason why it's an L is because you didn't get what you really wanted. Like, so the Israeli government lied when they said we just want them to stop with their nuclear weapons. That's not what it was. It was about regime change. You guys couldn't do it.
Staying in power is the win? Is that it? Just staying in power?
Yes.
Okay, that sounds
absolutely,
like a consolation prize.
And the reason why that's a win is because Israel's goal was to get them out of power. Look, controversial take, I think it was an L. And there's a multitude of reasons why I think it was an L. Sure. So the reason why it was an L is because, let's be honest here, the real goal from Israel was regime change. Okay, they didn't accomplish that. They used the lie of they have nuclear weapons to justify regime change. Because if they only cared about the nuclear weapons, why did they have the Mossad in the back lines for literally months, building drones, doing it nice and slowly? Then when they launched Operation Rising Lions, what did they do? A bunch of targeted strikes, not just to kill nuclear scientists, but they also killed a bunch of generals. And they were trying to kill the Ayatollah as well. They just couldn't find them. Then, when they did their strikes and everything else like that, and then the U.S. came in and finished the job, and then we did this ceasefire, it was an L. And that's why they're trying to restart the war up again, because they want a regime change. And they understand that as long as the regime is there,
it's a crazy interpretation of it.
Well, let me tell you why it's also an L.
I would say it's an L for Israel, but I don't think it's an L for Trump. I think
he's able.
Trump got out of it.
He did. But obviously a lot of his base didn't like that, right? That he bombed them. There was no need. We spent billions of dollars to do it. Right, we spent all this time and resources into doing it. Also, we spent a significant amount of money defending Israel.
We even propagandized.
Israel spending like 100 to 200 million a day just defending against the missiles from Iran.
We even propagandized the country with a $1 billion film. You guys know this, right? Top Gun Maverick.
Oh,
you think I'm kidding?
Yeah, I saw that movie.
The movie's about, right?
Yeah.
The movie was literally about bombing the deep underground military bases in Iran.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing: many people may be saying like, how are you kidding? You think they knew? Yes, the bunker busters they use have been in development specifically
Since
for
2009.
Specifically for these facilities. So I'm not saying that the U.S. government went to Hollywood and said, make this movie. I'm saying someone doing research on the film said, we're going to make a movie.
So let me tell you why this was an L for all of us. Number one, IAEA, eyes out. The last guy just got kicked out like 2 days ago, right? Two, the regime is stronger now because the people have galvanized behind the government. The people that were critical of the theocracy before, now they're like, you know what? Israel attacked us. We're united. The Reformist Party, the Conservative Party, they used to be at ends. One party wanted to go ahead and diplomacy with the United States. The other said, no, we can't trust the West. Now they finally said, you know what? Fuck Israel. We're going to go ahead and strike back.
But Myron, I was told by many pro-Israel individuals that the people of Iran support Israel and hate their government and were happy to be bombed.
That's a lie. Yeah.
They showed a video of them dancing in the tunnels.
Dude, like
video.
Literally all the people that were like critical of the theocracy and critical of the Ayatollah and were like, yo, what the hell's going on here? Our government sucks. When Israel attacked them, they united the country. So that was another big L. And then when they had these funerals for the generals that died, which one of them they thought they killed, but they really didn't, thousands of people were showing up. So now people are saying, fuck America and fuck Israel. We survived. We won. They look at it as a W because they got attacked by both the United States and Israel. They exposed all their cards with exposing their Mossad agents, and they still didn't decapitate the regime, and they're still in power. So now our eyes with the IAEA is out. The country is galvanized behind the government. Ayatollah has more power than ever before. And on top of that, we've just given them an excuse to work harder towards a nuclear bomb. Now they're 1,000% going to get a nuclear bomb because we pulled out of the nuclear deal that we had, which was a fantastic deal, probably the only good thing that Obama did when he was in office. And we don't have transparency with what they're doing. So now they're going to get a nuclear bomb, and we're going to end up in a situation like North Korea where they're going to get the nuclear bomb to ensure that we don't fuck with them anymore.
Can I respond with some counter spin? It's actually very interesting because I did think Israel took the biggest L on October 7th. And since then, I think they've been taking very big W's. And the reason why I say that is because, if anything, Israel was able to defang Iran and their proxies since October 7th. So, for example, Gaza...
Patriot attack was great.
If they're almost complete. Hamas was almost completely decimated. Israel was even able to assassinate Ismail Haniyeh, the leader, the political leader of Hamas in Iran, proving to Iran that, no leader there is safe. Then obviously you mentioned the beeper attack. Hezbollah didn't bother coming to the defense of Iran. Not to mention that Israel, we don't like to talk about it, was involved with the overthrowing of Assad, which was Iran's major ally in the region. And then when it did come to the 12-day war, Israel had complete air superiority, and our military weapons were proven to be much more capable than the Iranians. So as of now, I think Israel has decimated all of the Iranian proxies in the region, actually doing what I think is America's dirty work. So as far as like military position, it's hard to get an exact gauge of what's going on in Iran, but as far as the military assets and, their proxies go, I think it's really hard to argue that like you're not doing anything but spin saying Israel's the one who took it out. I mean, if anything, Israel even got the United States to join their attack on Iran, which again I think would be a huge W. Netanyahu has been talking about the Americans joining in on an attack against this nuclear facility for so long, so I can't see this as anything but
let me just say this. If it was,
I got to respond to that.
If it was the previous administration, if it was the Democrat administration, we'd have boots on the ground in Iran.
I don't think Kamala Harris would have even struck Iran if she was elected president, actually.
Come on, are you serious?
Yeah, I'm dead serious. You said it yourself. You saw the direction that the Democrats are going on with Israel. You think she would back Israel and striking
100%.
Iran? I think that would lead to a coup in the party as a result of her action.
No, I've argued before that the Democrats, it's not about what they're doing on the surface, try and court their Democrat base. The machine is supporting the machine. The best opportunity the Israel critical group has is Donald Trump, who is concerned about pissing off his base. Democrats are like, you're all chickens as far as I care. We do what we want.
Yeah, I don't. I think most Zionists also believe that the Democrats don't have Israel's back and that this was a once-in-a-lifetime presidential action by Donald Trump, and Iran's more vulnerable than they've ever been. But Myron, I want to hear you.
But the reason why it's an L is because you didn't get what you really wanted. So the Israeli government lied when they said, we just want them to stop with their nuclear weapons. That's not what it was. It was about regime change. You guys couldn't do it. Well, and not only did you not...
like you saying you guys.
Yeah, well, because he kept saying Israel, he kept saying we. So
I'm talking about the West, the United States and the allies.
Okay, well,
maybe when you say we, you're talking
we
about
lost
Iran
for spending a bunch of money in this situation to help defend you guys, but the real problem is that we didn't effectuate, or Israel
we were attacking you guys in the Middle East, huh, Abdul?
Well, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm saying you were saying they were defending us. They were attacking you in the Middle East, because I'm Israel and you're Iran here.
I'm not Iranian.
Well,
that's fine.
You could pass as one. I mean, Myron Gaines, is that even your real name? I know Jews like to use stage names.
Now you're not even talking about the subject.
No, but John Stewart turned into John Leibowitz.
No problem.
Are you really Myron, or why do you use the stage name?
Are you going to argue?
My name is Mordecai. Anyway.
No, it's not. What is it actually?
It's Mordecai. Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here as you just changed the subect to insult the guy instead of Ashley.
He was the one who said you as Israel. So I was defending against.
Yeah, you did say we when you were.
I was talking about us striking Iran as the United States. We hit their nuclear facilities.
And that's a fine clarification. You don't got to insult him after he says that.
Yeah, I mean, the way it came, I've heard you said we multiple times after Israel, but that's fine. If you want to, that's fine. The point I'm trying to make is that the regime change was the goal. Now, the Israeli government is going to lie and say, oh, no, we just want to go after nuclear weapons. It wasn't about the nuclear weapons. That was just a pretense to try to effectuate the regime change. And they activated multiple Mossad assets in there. They did a whole bunch of airstrikes. Then they had the United States come in and do the coup de grace, and they still couldn't effectuate the regime change. And the regime is still in power. They're more resolved now than ever before. They're united before. That fractured government that people used to, rely on, saying like, yes, we could go ahead and get an uprising. It didn't work. Right? They were hoping that the Bolokes would go ahead and uprise with the government. It didn't work. Now they're behind the government even more so. And now they got the IAEA out, who was giving information to the Israeli intelligence apparatus. They're gone. So now they're 100% going to get a nuclear weapon.
So
here's the other thing, too.
Staying in power is the win? Is that it? Just staying in power?
Yes.
Okay, that sounds
absolutely,
like a consolation prize.
And the reason why that's a win is because Israel's goal was to get them out of power.
Okay, and what's Iran's goal? Wait, what's Iran's goal in the
nuclear
area?
weapon.
Okay, sorry, guys.
Just use a nuclear capability as a pretense to try to effectuate the regime change.
So let me ask this question.
Is the goal.
The IAEA is out. So, I mean, that is a loss.
Huge, especially for Israel.
We were tracking what they were working on. It's how we were collecting intelligence, and now we're not going to be able to. I mean, that's not a good thing for us, right?
And here's the other thing, too, I want to say.
I think the IAEA was a feckless organization and not effective in doing what they were set up to do anyway. I think they had hidden nuclear facilities that we actually bombed that the IAEA had no access to. So if anything, to me, the IAEA is a rubber stamp for Iran.
Well, here's the other thing, too, when it comes to hidden nuclear facilities. We know about the three main ones. I guarantee you guys that there's probably other clandestine nuclear operations in Iran that we don't know about. And we know that roughly 400 kilograms of highly enriched uranium was probably moved out of Fordo prior to the bombing. So however we want to slice it, right? Let's go with the White House commentary. 1 to 2 years, right, that we pushed back the nuclear program. Well, now they have the capability. They've already mastered the cycle. They can go ahead and enrich uranium at a high level. Now all their scientists are gone. They're going to go ahead and get a nuclear bomb, and now they have even more resolve to do so. So I look at it like the reason why this was an L is because the Israeli government will lie and say, oh, we want to go ahead and just get rid of their nuclear program. No, it's about regime change, and they could not effectuate the regime change.
I think that's an extremely
wait,
low
guys.
bar,
We-
generally to be
what's
considered
the
a
low
win.
bar?
So we hit
Stay in
that point.
power.
What's the low bar?
Is a win. Staying in power
guys,
is a low
Oh,
bar.
last thing I want to say.
It's on
I
the
didn't get to say
third
this.
time we've already mentioned regime change, so like let's move on.
Yeah. And then the last thing I'll say is that the other thing also with the ceasefire is Israel held a lot of this information back, but they were actually getting hit pretty hard by the Iranian missiles, despite the fact that they had U.S., British, Jordanian help, etc. The Iranian ballistic missile program was extremely competent. Hell, I think even Ben Gvir had admitted, yeah, we got hit pretty hard. A couple of their strategic sites got hit. A Mossad base got hit. Oman base got hit. Now, there was a law in the books, though, where Israeli media would get in trouble for reporting this or showing the damage. But now you look, Israeli media is even admitting that they got hit pretty hard with the Israeli missiles. Hell, even Trump himself said on the last day of the bombing that Iran hit them hard. So the reality is that Israel is a glass cannon that can't even properly defend itself. Yes, it can attack, but it can't defend itself without U.S. aid. So this is why I look at it overall. This was an L for all of us.
So
and we shouldn't have gotten involved.